Hi there, my name is Caitlin Bandy and this is my channel Bandy's Books, and today we are doing something a little bit different than usual. My birthday is June 21st, which is also the summer solstice and the Incan New Year. So if you're celebrating either the Incan New Year or the summer solstice, Happy New Year and Happy Summer Solstice to you. So because my birthday falls on a weekend that is not a holiday weekend, Oz and I usually head home to San Diego over Memorial Day weekend to celebrate my birthday like a month early with my parents. Because it gives us a little bit more time to visit since Oz and I have conflicting schedules. And so while I'm there, I usually treat myself to a little bit of a birthday book haul. There is a used bookstore at the Rancho Santa Fe library in San Diego, which is one of my absolute favorite used bookstores. It has a great selection of books and I always try to make sure I check it out when I go if I can. So this time around, we took a little trip up to Julian, got some apple pie, checked out the used bookstore up there, and then we drove down to the Rancho Santa Fe library, and I had a pretty successful haul of books. So first you're gonna see some clips of my exploration of the town of Julian, the bookstore, and then the visit to the Rancho Santa Fe library, and then we'll go over the different books that I picked up. Where are we at, Dad?
We're in Julian at Mom's Apple Pie Store.
Is Julian famous for apples?
Yes, it's famous for apples.
Awesome.
And apple pies.
What I found at the library, and I'm so excited because there was a lot of really good books. First up, I found Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Coates is one of my favorite writers. I love some of his articles from The Atlantic. I've read The Water Dancer, and I'm super excited to finally get to read this one. And then at the used bookstore in Julian, I found Tis, a memoir by Frank McCourt. I read Angela's Ashes a while back. I want to say I read it in March during Irish Readathon, and I really enjoyed McCourt's writing, so I thought I would give Tis a chance as well. And then I found The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This is a book that I have heard some really rave reviews about from a handful of people that I really trust. A couple of people that I follow on Bookstagram in particular, where I have a similar taste, have really highly recommended this. I did try to listen to it on audiobook once and really couldn't get into it. I felt like it was not the right type of book for audio. So I picked up this nice hardcover copy, and we'll see if I do a little bit better reading it on page. And then I had Too Good to Be True by Carola Lovering. I don't know a ton about this, but I usually have good luck with Book of the Month. It seems like it's a thriller. We'll see. If it's something that I don't end up loving, I can always pass it to a little free library. And then I found The Revolution of Marina M by Janet Fitch. So this book, I picked it up because I actually have the other book in this particular series. I had found that book on sale at the Goodwill for like 50 cents. The cover was really pretty. It sounded really interesting. It's from the same author as White Oleander, which I really loved White Oleander. So I thought I would give it a shot, but it turns out that I had picked up the second book, and I believe that this is the first book. So when I saw this, I was like, well, I might as well pick it up and give this series a try finally. So here it is. And then I found Atomic Love by Jennifer Fields. This was a Book of the Month book. This is, if I remember correctly, about the 1950s in Chicago. And I believe it has to do with somebody that was involved in some way with creating the atomic bomb, like after, like it's not during the creation, it's like dealing with her guilt and her feelings post-atomic bombing. So I heard some good things about this when this first came out. I'm excited to get into it. And then I found Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is the author of The Poet X, and I believe with The Fire on High. I haven't read any of her books yet, but I've heard really good things, and I've heard that this is the best of her 3 works. So I'm excited to check this out. This is YA, which I don't typically read, but a couple of my friends have highly recommended this. In particular, my friend Allie, who's at Allie Loves to Read over on Instagram, who's picked out books for me on my YouTube channel before, recommended this author, so I'm excited to get into it. And then I found An Orchestra of Minorities, and this is by Chigozie Obioma. So I know nothing about this book or this author, but for some reason the cover really called to me, and when I picked it up and read the description, I was like, this is a book that it sounds like I should read. So it's about a couple in Nigeria. The man is a poultry farmer, and then the woman is from a wealthier upper class family. The two of them fall in love, but there is a whole bunch of conflict about their differing statuses. So the young man sells everything that he owns and takes off to university out of country. And when he arrives where he's going, he realizes he's been duped and scammed out of every penny he has. So this book follows that whole situation. I'm super interested in this. I think this is going to be a really good read. And then I have The Library Book by Susan Orlean. This is not a book that I actually initially went to pick up. My mom picked it up and said she really loved it, that it was a really enjoyable read. So I decided I would give it a shot. I don't know actually what it's about or anything. It was nothing that was on my radar, but my mom and I have pretty similar tastes, so I'm sure if she really liked it, I'll likely like it as well. And then I found The Music Shop by Rachel Joyce. This is also a Book of the Month book, but it sounds really good, and there's an interesting little coincidence. This book is set in 1988, and I was born in 1988, so for me it felt like a little bit of a sign. This is about a music shop that is on a dead-end, rundown street. A guy named Frank is the shop owner, and he has a way of connecting with customers, but he also is somebody that doesn't let people get too deep with him. But one day, a young woman named Ilsa is sent to Frank to start teaching music lessons, and he realizes he can't keep everything shut down forever. Sounds really interesting. I'm not super familiar with this particular book, but I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. And the last book that I found was Milkman by Anna Burns. This won the Man Booker Prize in 2018. This was a book that I actually intended to read for the Irish Readathon in March, but unfortunately did not get around to reading at that time. But I found this copy of it, and so I figured I would pick it up and enjoy it. And then because it's a paperback, I'll pass it on to somebody else when I am done. This is about a family of unnamed people. Middle sister stands out for the wrong reasons. She reads while walking for one, and she has been taking French night classes downtown. So when a local paramilitary named Milkman begins pursuing her, she suddenly becomes interesting, the last thing she ever wanted to be. I am really excited about this one. I've heard some really good reviews, and I think when I had it on my list for Irish Readathon, I was told it was a pretty cool book by a couple different people. So we'll see. And then the other couple things that I have in here are just books that my mom passed on to me. They're not things that I found at the library. But my mom sent me Free Food for Millionaires by Min-Jin Lee. I read Pachinko, I want to say a year ago, and really enjoyed it. And I had been wanting to read this one, so she's letting me borrow this for now. And she also lent me Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I read my first T. Kingfisher book a couple months back. I read A House with Good Bones. I have a full-scale review if you're interested up here. And so she asked me if I was interested in reading Nettle and Bone, and I said yes, of course. So here we have it. And then my mom has a habit of passing on her old cookbooks to me if they're things that interest me. Since she really doesn't do a whole lot of cooking anymore, she's been slowly but surely kind of cleaning out her cookbook collection. So every once in a while she'll call me and see if there's a book I want. This time it was 365 Great Chocolate Desserts by Natalie Haughton. And though I am a chef for a living, I specialize in savory foods. Desserts are not my focus. And so I am always here for a helping hand when it comes to desserts, especially chocolate. It's just not my forte. So I was excited to pick this up and add it to my collection. So not a bad book haul. I'm pretty pleased with what I found at the local library. Like I said, this was my little treat to myself for my birthday. This has kind of turned into like a tradition for the past couple years. And it's a tradition I hope to continue going forward. It feels nice going to the bookstore and being able to pick up, you know, a nice little stack of books because I never know what I'm gonna find there, and that's part of the joy of it. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed my birthday book haul. I hope you enjoyed seeing the local bookstores and a little bit of Julian and seeing what books I found. And if you liked the video, hit the thumbs up, comment down below, and let me know if you could find any book in a used bookstore, what would it be? Like just one book, like what book do you want more than anything? And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the notification bell so that you never miss a video, and that way we can see each other again soon. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.